Hey everybody, it's Doom from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, one half of the team at DungeonSwag.com, and we are going to paint number 6 of the June DungeonSwag Loot Crate Minis. If you're not into Loot Crate Minis, which is essentially a box that shows up at your door, it comes with a little sticker and a box with 5, 6, 7 minis in it, maybe 8 if there's goblins or whatever. And they are highly detailed minis, as you can see here. Really beautiful. If you want a free one, check out the website and the Discord. ASCO has got a competition right now where you can get that. This is obviously, we should not be talking about my melatonin that helps me sleep, that I don't take anymore. But anyways, oh, look at that. There's one of those little mold support lines on there. Let's get that off before we start painting. Okay, so I think we're ready to start on this, gentlemen. So we know that for our theme for these guys that we went with was we used that stone on that's what's it called, dark stone on the cloak, the fur, and we used the camouflage or camo cloak on the fabric. So let's start out with the fabric first. I just ate some pizza. It was good. I had pizza for dinner last night too. Probably gonna have to stop eating pizza so I don't get too fat and die. And let's put some brush on this miniature. I think this guy's going to look really sick. Though he was not one of my favorites in this in the June box. I liked all the minis in the June box. Don't get me wrong. I mean, hell, I helped pick them, but some of them were not as good as others. But it comes down to personal preference. The shaman dude and the bear hood dude were my two favorites by far. This guy was probably 4 of the 5. All right, now we got to get up underneath there. All right. So, do we have any other fabric on him that needs to be this color? Well, we can definitely do this up here for sure. All right. All right, starting out strong. We got to do his the fur portion of this guy. So I'm gonna get my dark stone. Give me a nice little size drop of that. Remove some of that rinse water from my brush. I do that with my mouse. It's probably not the best way to do it, but in my opinion, it is the only way to do it. That is way too much. So we want to pull off some of that excess because this will be really thick and we could lose some detail. We get a piece of cardboard for that. We could lose some detail on our guy if our paint's too thick. We don't want to lose any of the detail. Sven did such a nice job designing these. Alright, so I think let's take a crack at that shield next. This color is called Hardened Leather. It's another Army Painter speed paint. Let's get behind that shield with it. Okay. What else could we do with this while we have it out? We could use this light brown on his pants. All right. Got that pretty much covered. There's a little spot, a corner of the cloth I missed, the fabric part. I'm going to try to just get this little teeny dab here of green that's left and hit that. There we go. All right. We're already starting to come together here. I love it when a mini comes together. I don't sound anything like Liam Neeson. Sorry. My Liam Neeson quotes would be like, I have a very specific set of skills. None of them include painting miniatures. Looks like we got a little bit of fur coming down there from that. Alright, so we can't do his boots till the pants dry. We gotta kind of let everything dry at this point. So let's do the ground, the dirt. And if you haven't been watching the videos, then you might not be familiar with how I do my dirt. Before I put a mini on this base, I just get some super glue and I stretch it all around on here, and then I dip it in baking soda until... Sorry, I record all my videos live, and my beautiful wife and children are going to the park, and they just came down here and waved at me and told me where they were going while I was talking. I kind of lost my train of thought. So we're just coming around here with this craft paint. Getting all that baking soda dirt texture. If you go over, it's fine. We're going to go around the outside with black. That's been like a standard. I do that on all my minis now. Okay. So, a lot of that speed paint's probably dry. Let's hit this fabric thing in the back here that I'm not sure what that is. Let's hit that with a very light brown. This is Sand Golem. We could probably use that in a couple other little spots too. Switch up to a smaller brush. Alright, what else can we hit with that? Let's zoom in. I can't even tell what this is supposed to be. What's going on back here? Alright, that's some kind of patchwork stuff. We're going to hit that with this too. He's got a little parcel back here, a little package, a little pouch. Do this belt. Alright, let me zoom back out. Alright, so we're making some progress. He's got this little dagger or short sword on his thing there. We gotta think about that. I think what we should do is come back to that first brown we used, that medium brown, and hit that sheath. All right. If any of you guys buy the DungeonSwag minis, I would love to see your paint jobs. And we've actually talked about maybe giving out some special prizes to people that are showing us their work. Because we're curious as to, we know what they look like when we paint them, but we're curious as to what other people are coming up with, Alright, so I think I want to use a gray on his clothing. I have this Grave Lord gray, which is pretty good. And then there's this runic gray that's okay. It might make him end up looking a little darker than I'd originally thought, but we'll give it a fair shake and see how it looks, and then if we need to do something about it, we will. It might end up looking completely fine. I think we're going to do his boots in that same Gravelord gray. It's warm in here tonight. I came down here and aired it out and cooled it down before I got started. Okay, now we're going to do some metallics using a tiny brush still. At this point, going back to a bigger brush for almost anything might be more harmful than anything else. So let's get the silver. This is gunmetal. Let's hit up his little boob guards here. Two boob guards. Okay. Now he's got some shoulder pads and knee pads. We're going to do those. Or elbow pads and knee pads because he's a pro skater. Blah. Be nice if we could listen to some Weezer or something while we're doing this. Remember what I said before if you've watched. When you're doing these outlining, don't think of it as painting. Think of it as that you're using a pen. And just drawing around the edges. Taking that pressure off, the unpainting pressure off. It's very helpful. Because painting can be stressful. And it's not meant to be. At least not for me. I paint to enjoy myself. I have a lot of fun doing it. I'm not that great. And yes, I have probably painted thousands of miniatures. And I suppose If you guys want to do a 4 or 5 hour paint job, we can do that. And I can show you that. I guess I'm not the worst painter, but I have a lot more fun just spending an hour making something look okay to throw on the tabletop. All the players will like it. They have made some comments about the quality of miniatures going down, but they don't treat them the way I want them treated. You know, they knock them over and move them around with their grubby pizza hands. And I'm not about that life. Now, on that sword hilt back there, on the side, underside there, I wouldn't worry about going into too much detail on that because you can't see it under there. Unless you're zoomed in and shining a light, you're not going to see that. So my recommendation is that you just do the bare minimum on that to get the look you want and let that go. Don't turn this into a big work. Now there's this like metal plate on his chest here in the center. I think it's metal. So what I've done is I wiped off a lot of that paint, and I'm just going to come across it and touch it and bring a little of that reflective metal surface out. But I'm not putting a lot of on there, just a little bit to make it metal looking. And when we put that clear coat on, it's going to look a lot better, I think. Alright, let's rinse out our brush and let's come back and look at, we have a war horn, we have flesh, we have hair. And then we have all the little straps and stuff. So for hair, I don't think I've done any really blonde people lately. Maybe I have. Oh, not when I'm painting these guys. I haven't. I don't think. I've been painting some of the other DungeonSwag minis that are just like older ones and stuff that I never painted. And I did use some yellow or blonde or whatever you want to call it on some of those. That's really bright. Let's see if we can. Yeah. All right. So we can let that dry and we can fix that. We're just going to need to use like a bone shade or something that's going to go over that yellow and add a little bit of dingy brown to it. So let's come back. Let's start on this. Let's do this war horn. That's going to be that same pallid bone that I was just talking about. And then we'll come back and do some other highlights on that with other colors. Or not highlights, but it's got some metallic and stuff on it. I want to do the handle of his sword in this. All right, let's work on lightening up that, while we're letting all that dry so we can move on to our next, the flesh. Let's lighten up the base. We're going to get our cheap brush. We're going to get some of this monster brown. And a little bit of that dark stone. And a little bit of this mummy or skeleton bone. And we're going to work a tone down, a usable tone down, so that our dirt does not look like all the same color. Because right now it's kind of boring. So we're going to use mostly this brown and a little bit of that and see what that looks like. Now this brown dark has a grayish, still way too light. Still way too light. Alright, we can start with that there. Wipe off a lot of that. It has a gray tone to it, and it's I think it gives it a more natural look, personally. Just grab some spots, smear some paint around, and break up the uniformity of that dirt. Then we're going to get that lighter color that we made and bring that down one more tone. Okay. Wipe off most of this. Then we're going to come back around it one more time and just kind of drag it around. That's more of a then for like these pants, we can just kind of touch those in some spots with it. Some of these higher spots. Just bring some light to that subject. Snark, snark. We don't want to do too much work on these pants. The speed paint did its job pretty much. We just wanted to get some of that detail to really snap, and it did with that lighter color that we used there. So we have this patch up on his shoulder that's not coming into focus. I want to drag that around on that a little bit. Just kind of give that some more, a little more oomph. Then I want to take that brown and really lighten it up with this color here, that bone tan or whatever it is, and I want to hit this horn a little bit. I kind of want to hit this front of his shield, this little crest or whatever this is. We're not painting this, we're just kind of making sure everybody knows that's a 3D raised surface that Spen worked really hard to make look nice for us. Alright, let's hit that flesh up and see how much of a difference that makes. And then maybe while the flesh is drying, we'll come back and do some of the base work. Alright, so we're getting our flesh now. I only have one speed paint flesh. There's probably more out there, I just don't have them. Alright. Do that hand. See how that looks. Ooh. Too much paint. Alright, this makes me nervous always. Alright, so let's clean that off. And let's look at some of these straps he has. So for these straps, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that darkest color, that dark wood. I'm just going to get a dab. I'm going to trace the lines of those straps that go to his elbow pads and stuff. On this arm, I'm going to ignore it. Alright, what else can we do with this while I have it out? We can send that down and use that to doll up some of this metal. Alright. We got to fix that hair. So while his face dries, and before we come back and do our flesh lighten up, we're going to do the black band around his base. For that, just going to get a little dab of black. And all we're doing is following that line around where the baking soda ends. Alright. He's starting to come together and look pretty sick. We're going to lighten up that cloak. I keep forgetting about that. I think earlier I said something about it too and just slipped my mind. Alright, we're going to lighten up that cloak. So, oops. So to lighten that up, we're going to take the actual color we started with, which is dark stone, and some monster brown, and some uniform gray. Now we already have the monster brown right there. Alright, we're not wiping it all off, but we're getting a good bit of it off. And we're going to come touch his cloak up, his fur. We're just dragging it across here, making it different colors as we go. No pressure. Just lightening it up, making it pop a little of that detail. More higher up, less lower down. We're going to lighten that up another smooch, another smoosh. We'll wipe a lot of that off. We're just going to hit the top parts right here really pretty good. Then we're going to do one more. Mixed with a little bit of that crap. What is that? Bone, some kind of bone color there. We want to wipe that really, really off a lot. Just hit that little top of the mantle there. Looks more natural. Now you could really do like a dark then a light dry brush and make these look really deep and unnatural. But I'm trying to keep these guys kind of looking natural and normal and good. Anything I could really pick out and do much damage to with this gray to get a different look? Not really. Okay. Let's get that silver on the sword and his shoulder pads and arm guards a different look. This is runic gray. We're just going to doll up this silver so it's not so obnoxious. Switching back to a different brush here. That starter brush. We're going to hit that sword blade first. Now, if you get this thin enough, it'll fill in the 3D details of the sword some, but more so it just kind of stains it off, like off color. So if you see, now it's not nearly as obnoxious silver. Alright, so let's do his flesh. We're going to need new tape here. That's just, I hate to waste it for this close to the end, but we're just going to need new tape. Get a t-shirt or something and clean up your mess if you're like me and you're making one. I got to see if my wife has a stash of masking tape because I don't want to have to just store run. I'm getting low. Alright, flesh. So I've been doing this a lot lately. Skeleton bone has like a tannish white to it. And then I have barbarian's flesh and tanned flesh. On this guy we're doing the tanned flesh. You want to use a small brush on this. Oop. Get some of your dark, some of your light. A little bit more of your dark. And find the tone that complements what you already have going on here. There we go. That looks okay. Wipe a lot of that off. Just hit those hands. That back top part of the hand, like up here, this meat part, that part's always going to be lighter. Oh crap, way too much paint on my brush. See if I can't steal some of that back off there. Nope. Alright, let's hit his face with this. Should bring out that tone a little better. Alright, now we're going to have to get that same paint. We're going to have to add a little bit of tan to it. Wipe a lot of that off. And come back and fix where I used way too much on his hand in here. Just touching it. Just grabbing it to lighten it up some. Grab his fingers. They're really bright. And then we'll do just his nose and forehead. Rub it across a few times. Lighten it up a little bit. I think we can probably lighten that up a little more. There we go. Alright. All right, let's do that hair. We knew we had to come back and hit it. We knew that. That was not a secret. We're pretty much done here, but we just got a little bit more work to do. And that hair is too bright and vibrant, so we're going to get this pallid bone color. And we're going to go real thin with it. You do not want much moisture in your brush if you're trying to go real thin with these, because they don't like water. So we're going to just hit that hair up. With the thinnest and lightest. A little less obnoxious, not perfect. All right, fractional brush time. Let's see what we can do. We got a headband to worry about here. And we're going to do something about his eyes, I'm guessing. And he doesn't have any eyebrows. So I'm going to start with this off-white. It's called Mummy Robes. Just a tiny little spat of that. You don't need much. And then get your fractional brush. Now, your fractional brush, I would say, drying it out too much will not let the paint flow nice enough for this small detail work. If you make a little mistake, like on a cheek or something, you can just come back and snap that up. Now, on this headband, the secret is to pick a color that kind of meshes with his hair and his face, so if you make a mistake, it's not irrecoverable. All right. Let's get some metal edges on this sword again. This is the brightest metal I have, shining silver. All right, he's looking all right, dudes. Just went around the tops of his elbow pads and knee pads and his shield. I'm going to do this little piece on his chest. Just a little thin line down the center. We're going to call that a win, dudes. Alright, let's get his base done. Rinse out my brush. Go back and grab yourself a shitty brush, a crappy brush. I shouldn't say bad words at you, sorry. I apologize, I am merely human, and although I try not to swear, I'm not perfect. So we want to just outline where dirt's going to go. Stiffer bristles is good. Oh, this brush is, I thought this is the one I usually use. It's not as stiff as I need. So you're going to have to do that extra little bit of work and shove that down into the grid of your base now, if you're not using a stiff bristled brush. I could have swore that was the same brush I always use. I must have grabbed the wrong brushes out. Alright, so we have him. See the shiny on his base? That's where the flock's going to stick. This is some really old wood. I think it's Woodland Scenics. I asked my wife if she could remember, and she could not. So where'd I get that really obnoxious green flock that I never used for anything? She looked at me with a blank stare and said, "I'm not in charge of your flock." I decided not to say anything. Alright. So, admirable job for wanting something to throw on your tabletop to represent a barbarian or a Viking. Player could easily pick this up and use it as a player character, or he could serve multiple roles in different capacities. Quite pleased with how fast we got this guy done, and he fits with our theme. So he's going to get dried off, and then he's going to get clear coated, and then we'll see what... Oh, I forgot eyebrows. Time out. Sorry, I forgot eyebrows. Let's get the fractional brush out. Oh my gosh, this guy was almost a heathen. Here we go. Uh-oh, what'd I do there? I bulked that all up. Alright. Now we're going to really need to go into overdrive for eyebrow repair. Oh. Oh. That's how you do it. One shot, one kill. I mean, one stroke, one forehead. Alright. There we go. Thanks for watching. Everybody have an awesome evening. If you like the miniatures, if you like what's going on here, when I'm drying him with a hair dryer after I do the clear coat, I'll straighten out his sword. So if you like what we're doing and you like the miniatures, check us out. In the description of all the videos, I have the Discord and the website. On the website, you can buy one-off minis that you want, or you can buy our subscription box, like where this guy came from, and it's awesome. Even though I pick the minis, I have so much fun getting them in the mail every month and opening them up and painting them, and just amazing. Right now, I'm actually doing a lot of ones that we don't have, that we don't print anymore. I'm doing some different ones that we've had to get caught up on my catalog, and I'm doing these guys, and I'm eagerly waiting for July's miniatures to come, because June's were amazing, and I'm so pleased. So thanks everybody much for watching. Have a great day.